Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Thank you for attending this morning. I'm Tim Dickerson, presiding judge of Cochise County, and this is a ceremony at which we will swear in our Cochise County judges, clerk of the Superior Court, and we have a couple of constables. And this will be, there's a program which I'll deviate slightly from, but the procedure will be as follows. After the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll swear in mass the individuals who were just re-elected, who've been through this before. They'll stand up where they're at. I'll swear all of them in. I'll then call up here in front of the podium the constables, new ones, one at a time, swear them in. Each of them will be offered a chance to make remarks if they'd like. Then I'll bring up Judge-elect Larson and swear him in, present his gavel, and then Mrs. Larson will come up and put his robe on him. He'll have a chance to make remarks, and then I'll wrap things up. If you're wondering why there may some faces missing, they're on the list. There were some judges who could not be here this morning and who were sworn in advance. Thank you again for attending. And now please, Judge Thorn, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now, that would be some judges and Ms. Hunley. If you were re-elected, please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Janus Poppe,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona.
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic.
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
And I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of, state your office,
the duties of the office of Justice Court Judge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thanks, congratulations, please be seated. As I mentioned, we have two new constables, and I'll ask Mr. Drummond to join me in front of the podium. He is the new constable for the Benson precinct. Oh, I forgot to mention this. If any, say, family or people would like to take pictures, it doesn't bother me if you want to come up in this area. I've done thousands of weddings, and people are just all over me with cameras and stuff. So if you want to do that, yeah, feel free. We are making a video recording. That's why we'll sort of stay in this area. Just get wherever you need to be to get a good shot at it. Picture.
Gallery. Camera.
Go help her.
Sorry.
And we have a same.
Sure.
Sorry. That's okay. All right. Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, John C. Drummond,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona.
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully, impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Constable Precinct 3
the duties of the office of Constable Precinct 3,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me
Congratulations, sir.
God. Thank you.
Stay at the podium.
I just retired from DPS after 37 years in law enforcement, most of it in this county. It's kind of interesting. I had no clue what a constable was. So I decided to go ahead and look it up, and I found out there's a lot of history in this county. Our first law enforcement officers in this county were actually constables assigned to the courts because they had no courts. So they designed the courts, and then it was, what do you do to enforce things? Found out that was even before the sheriffs were around. The bad thing I found out was Cochise County has the, it's not an honorable history, but the history of losing the most constables in the line of duty. So I started doing a little bit of information, fact finding, and I found out that one in Benson in particular, Constable Trask, had been killed in the line of duty in Benson, right at the railroad yards. A lot of people don't know that. The other 4 were killed in various areas in the county, catching rustlers and things like that. So there's a lot of history to it. Constable Trask had been in a shooting when he backed up a deputy in the Civil Road area off of I-10 the prior week, and had shot and killed a burglar that had gone into a ranch, along with a deputy he was accompanied by. On the night he was killed, which was 1 week later, he had been called to the railroad yard for a transient that was on the train. The railroad police officer was with him. That was about all they had in that time, was those 2 officers for the entire Benson area. They responded to it and tried to catch the guy. He ran. As he was running, he turned and fired a shot, which hit Constable Trask. Constable Trask was able to draw his gun and return fire. Unfortunately, Constable Trask died a few minutes later. He did wound the suspect. Suspect was caught, was taken to the hospital in Douglas, eventually ended up back and was tried and convicted. The strange thing was his wife had passed away. He was a single father. His wife had passed away prior to that. And his son ended up going into law enforcement, U.S. Customs. And in the 1930s, this all occurred in the early 1900s. In the 1930s, his son was working on the border down by Patagonia area, and he was killed. He was found dead in the desert. Had come across some smugglers and was killed. They do still have family in the area, so it's kind of interesting. So one of the things I'm going to try to do as constable, see if we can set up some kind of memorial in the Benson area for him. And then I also want to look at something maybe placed up here for the other 4 constables who were killed in the line of duty. But it was interesting finding all that out. I've had enough of law enforcement. My big thing is I'm never wearing a gun belt again. I had enough of it. My back's had enough of it. My wife's heard enough complaining when I get home from the end of the day. It's a great bunch of people to work with in this county. I've enjoyed it I've been here since 1998. When I came back, I started with Syracuse PD and to DPS. When I came back, I just found it was just the same good old feeling you have when you're in a smaller community, a smaller county. So I think I'll enjoy that, and I'll enjoy working with a lot of you around here that I see and have been working with since. So I want to thank everybody. It's actually an honor holding the office. We'll see what it turns into. I'm hoping we can change it a little bit from the Benson constable position to maybe something else. We can improve it a little bit. I was talking to the other newly elected constable. I've already found a grant for some vehicles. It won't cost the county a dime. So we'll see if we can do something like that. But again, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope I do my best to the office.
Thank you, John. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
Kevin Byer,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Constable Wilcox Precinct 4,
the duties of Constable Wilcox Precinct 4,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Say something. No.
I love this country. I love this state. But I really love this county. So this is my way, hopefully, that I can give back. And add some professionalism to the office. And take the lead of the new boss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you like right over here? How's that? Ready to go? All right. You raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Joel Larson,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Superior Court Judge
the duties of the office of Superior Court Judge
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Gonna have to get used to it.
If you're in a hurry on the way, you come in that door.
You know what, we'll just leave it.
Yeah. Like Rick Marks.
I just have a few brief remarks, and it's really just to thank people and then to leave you with a quote that is one of the ideas that I want to take with me as I enter this office. First of all, I am just absolutely humbled and thankful for the faith that the voters in Cochise County have put in me in electing me to this position. I want to acknowledge really all of the different shoulders that I'm standing on here today. And I look around this room and I see so many familiar faces, people that I've known for years. Every one of you that I know has had just a colossal influence on me. I want to thank my parents, Bob and Helen. I want to thank my stepmom, Ann, my in-laws, Leonel and Chris, my brother, Peter, my sister-in-law, Sonia, my other sister-in-law, Olivia, my uncle Ed, my uncle Ron, my aunt Marilyn, my papa Jake, and my stepdaughter Yesenia and her fiance Chris. Over the years, every neighbor, every relative, every friend, every teacher, coworker, judge, lawyer, client, witness, every person I've met, you've left something with me, and I'm taking that with me as I embark on this office. I especially want to thank Mr. Haight, who I campaigned with, and Ray, it was a pleasure. Thank you. I want to thank my son Finn. He was very helpful in the campaign. He was very enthusiastic about it. So Finn, thank you. And especially, I want to thank my wife, Susanna. She was everything with her love, her help, her understanding, her patience, and her belief in me that we could do this. So thank you. I love you. I want to leave you with a quote that I came across from Chief Justice Roberts, and it's really the perspective that I want to bring to this office. Judge Roberts said that judges are like umpires. Umpires don't make the rules, they apply them. The role of an umpire and a judge is critical. They make sure everybody plays by the rules, but it is a limited role. Nobody ever went to court to see the judge, to see the umpire. As judges, I firmly believe that it is not about us. It's about the people that come before us. It's not about our personality. It's about the issues that everybody who comes before us have. And it's our job to mediate them, to apply the law, to be faithful to the law, and to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're getting to the result that the law and the facts require. This is about law, this is about fact, and it's about administering the law impartially. And I am absolutely set on doing that in every case that comes before me. I want to thank you all for being here. Judge Dickerson, thank you for officiating. Thank you, everybody. It's time to get to work. Before I release you for some of you to get to work, I want to first thank you again for attending today. And I'd like just to share some comments and conclusions that I've reached over the years. The purpose of our legal system is to protect the rights of individuals, to provide a forum for the resolution of disputes, and to administer justice. There's a great deal of suspicion today directed at all levels of our government, including the legal system. It's our duty as public officers to exercise our responsibility and comport our lives, both professional and private, in a manner in which will promote a positive image of the Cochise County legal system. In support of this goal, I'd like to offer just a couple ideas. These apply mostly to judges, but I don't think it would really hurt for other public officials, elected or not, to think about them, and their aspiration. I'm certainly not successful with all of these. Social media. I would suggest stay away from it. If you're a judge, there's a whole lot of rules you have to follow to do it right, or you will create conflicts. Your brother and sister judges do not want you creating conflicts, because then they have to do your work. All right? Especially keep away from those nice little I don't do any of this, of course, myself. So it's the websites, I guess, or forums, maybe it's a better word, where people put on there what their opinions are, what they think about things. There's one like Sierra Vista, I think. I'll save you some time. They think bad things about you. They think things that you believe are gonna, if you read it, will be like unfair, slanted. They don't know the whole story. It's not gonna be a pleasant experience, so why read it? And if people around you want to read it, like maybe a spouse or friends, don't let them read it to you. If you insist on looking at it, I really suggest that you don't respond to it, because that will not be helpful. Back in the old days, with just a newspaper, there'd be something in there that was negative about me, but I didn't respond. I knew a elected person who wrote a letter every time back again, but I didn't do that because, people forget about that. It passes on. Why aggravate it? Why get pulled in further and amplify the negativity? You're on duty 24/7. Both literally, there could be a need for a search warrant, juvenile detention hearing on a weekend or holiday, and just more in the way life works. I mean, we're in a small community. Most of y'all's communities are smaller than where I'm at, and people know who you are.
you should assume that everybody knows who you are and that unfortunately, some of them are looking for you to slip up. I believe one of the most important things a public official needs to learn is how to say no. It's hard to people no. That law enforcement officer has worked on that search warrant. It's the middle of the night. Maybe you're going to be up for a half hour. They're up all night. But it doesn't look quite right to you. You need to say no. That person's in your courtroom for some kind of an emergency request, and they're crying. They're clearly scared. But you don't see crying and clearly scared really when you read what the statute says needs to be proved at that time to issue that order. You have to be able to tell people no. Try to avoid telling me no, though. Related to that, and this again, this is all just my opinion, take it for what you think it's worth. I don't think it's our job to make people happy. In a court forum, the only time everybody's happy is adoptions and weddings, and I'm never sure how long it's going to last on the wedding. And also, you're not there for people to like you. I like that reference, that famous reference to the umpire. One thing I'll add there is, people don't like the umpire. Because the umpire is delivering bad news to one side. You've got two sides, just like in that baseball game. And if you make one person happy, you're making somebody else sad. So you need to keep that in mind. I don't think it's our job to help people either. I've said for a long time, the quickest way for a judge to get in trouble is to try to help someone. And some of you have heard me say that before, I'm sorry. And we have seen judges get in trouble just for that. Totally well intentioned, somebody unhappy or upset or whatever, and the judge get involved outside of a court forum. Your job is to determine facts, the law of the facts, interpret the law, make it impartial, do this all in an impartial manner and to the best of your ability. That will sometime result in you helping somebody. It will often also result in you hurting somebody else. And that kind of leads into my next one. Announce your decisions more in sorrow than in anger. You are going to tell somebody, you have to get out of this house. I had this order from the judge. You apparently didn't pay your rent. You're out of here. And it may be totally justified legal order. Are you happy about that? They may be homeless. You're hearing a family law case, and you're going to decide which parent the children primarily live with. And maybe it's clear that one is the better parent. You don't get too many easy cases like that. It may be they're both pretty good. It may be neither one of them are so hot. But you have to make a decision. And same thing with dividing property. I've sentenced people to very long prison sentences. And when I've done that, it's either I feel that's the right decision, or sometimes it's required by law. I have never seen one there's a reason for me to be happy about doing that. Because look at all that's happened before. Usually some victim was severely hurt. This defendant, probably didn't really have all the benefits that I had growing up. And now I'm locking them up at taxpayer expense, maybe for decades. Now, I realize some judges, particularly in sentencing, feel the need to speak on behalf of the public and so forth. Okay, again, none of this is word for word to be followed. But I would suggest when you express that decision, don't be angry. Why be happy? And be more regretful. Like, yes, this is my decision. I know that one side's not going to like it. I acknowledge that. And then finally, one that your coworkers and your employees and your family really appreciate you following. Don't let all this go to your head. You're the same person you were before. All right. I am not better than the people in my courtroom. We don't decide who is a better person. A higher authority gets to make those kind of judgments, all right? Yes, people stand up when you're in the courtroom. People, and I've tried to stop them sometimes, but they want to do it. People call you judge or your honor when you're, buying coffee or at a restaurant or whatever, and they like to do that. Remember that respect, particularly initially, is shown to your office. You need to earn that respect yourself. And just keep in mind, you're still just a person, a human, trying to do the best job you can. And it's not gonna be perfect, so don't think that you are. Now, hopefully you have a spouse or family or friends who can remind you of that. My grandkids and wife are particularly apt to doing that. And maybe life in general will remind you. I mean, I'm reminded every time when I'm entering the courtroom, and I've had trouble with my zipper trying to get in there. I can hear they're already standing up. I think it's worse though when I close the door on my robe when I'm trying to come in. I get pulled backwards. I've been sitting there, I tend to move around, and I'll roll the chair onto my robe, so when I try to stand up, I can't stand up. That's gonna happen to you. I think it's going to happen to you. And this has happened to me a whole lot over the last many years. I run this by public, and they're like, oh yeah, I know you. And I don't really recognize them, but oh, I know you. And they're trying to figure out how they know me. And I'm like, well, I was an attorney for like 16 years. And then, no, I've been a judge for like long time. No. And then the light bulb will go on and they'll say, you're Eva's husband. So hopefully that sort of thing happens to you also, because I think it really will make you a better judge, better constable, better prosecutor, whatever, defense counsel, whatever you're trying to do, to remember you're still just an average Joe. Thanks for attending today. The people sworn in are going to sign the written oath before they depart. So please follow Nelsa. In fact, following her, it's a good idea in general. She'll keep you out of trouble. There are refreshments which are downstairs.
Oh, no, they're right here.
Which are next door. Thank you for attending. I'll excuse everyone to refreshments except for the people who are sworn in. Thank you.